and we'll wait like 2 more minutes and we'll start.
So I say that again, Gary? I don't know if I heard you properly.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait like 2 more minutes before we start. We'll just wait for everyone to come in. Right now we're at 23. Mr. Key, nice videos on Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
I need to borrow your gym.
Come anytime.
Huh?
Come anytime.
We're
Make sure you bring Lysol and mask.
Okay. So guys, I'm going to be sharing a screen. I'll just start talking now on it. So one thing is that we all know is that a lot of sellers and buyers do not want to visit the property because they're afraid of COVID.
After
So,
finish, after finish. Okay.
All right, wants to talk.
Okay. So I'm going to mute everybody again. If you have any questions, please send me a chat, like a message in the chat box or on WhatsApp. And we're going to be
There. They can see you. They can see you.
你走嚟後邊睇啊
Why? Ah, shit. I love this. There.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
So Eddie, you raised a hand. Did you have something that you wanted to ask?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Could you please have Steve to repeat what's our position when we are
What?
cooperating?
Okay, give me your name first, please.
This is Eddie.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you please have Steve to repeat what's our position when we are a cooperating broker? How are we going to submit our deposit? Is it to the seller's solicitor in trust? And
Yes.
what's our position if we are the listing broker taking, because I think the company position before is not taking any wire transfer of money.
No. Okay, let me answer your question. Sorry.
Answer.
If we are the listing agent, right now we are taking wire transfer during the during this period. Okay, we talked to Rico. We can do that, but the most important thing is you have to ask the co-op agent to fill in the FinTrack form. That is very important. Okay, we can take the wire. Okay, but they have to fill in the FinTrack form. We have to remind them. Number two is, if we are the listing agent, of course, the money is go to our trust account, because we know we are not going to do close down. Okay, we don't need the money from the the trust account. Tell you honestly, the money in our reserve fund is even bigger than the money in our trust account. So you don't have to worry about that. But what I'm worried is some of the companies, I don't know whether big or small, they might have problem. So I want to protect the buyer, protect the agent, protect your commission. So we want, under certain circumstances, if we act as a buyer agent, the money will go to the seller's lawyer's trust account, so that the money will definitely use to close the transaction, will not be misused by the listing broker. That is number one, to answer the question number one, our position. Number two is, I'm going to read you some courses. That means we will allow from now on the the closing costs to the deposit go into by wire to our account. I will allow. during this period. Am I making myself clear, Eddie?
Okay, so basically, until further notice, the listing group. Hello?
Yeah, Eddie, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So as a listing broker, until the government saying, okay, the pandemic is over, so we will take wire money to our trust account, right?
Oh.
I can't hear you.
Okay, let me finish the course. The courses, I want you to put it in your schedule. The other course I want you to put it in your schedule. We'll email to you. Let me read it to you. Let Gary read it to you because Gary.
Which one? Which one? Okay. So you guys do have this in those PDFs that's on the WhatsApp?
No.
So it's there.
It's not
there.
PDF.
Yeah,
it's different.
No, you told me to put.
You
okay.
read it. I tell you to read it.
Right. The buyer and the seller agree and acknowledge that in the event that the buyer or seller to the agreement becomes the subject of a mandatory COVID-19 virus quarantine at the time of the performance hereunder that results in the parties' inability to complete the transaction as scheduled, provided that the solicitors or both seller and buyer agree upon on the closing shall be automatically extended at the request of the either affected party for a period no longer than 16 calendar days, unless the parties otherwise mutually agree to extend the completion date further. If this clause invokes, the buyer and seller shall continue to act in good faith and use the reasonable best efforts to ensure the completion of the transactions occur on a timely basis as possible, and will not use this as a means to delay closing in the anticipation of any subject quarantine or closures or the reasons unrelated to COVID.
This clause, to put it in, is to prevent if something happened to the seller and the buyer, if they have to be quarantined. So the closing date will automatically extend for 16 days.
Okay, time shall remain of the essence for this extended closing date as a result of this clause.
Okay, that is the first clause. The second clause.
The buyer and seller agree that in the event that the buyer or seller's respective solicitors, lenders, and banks, or the land registry office becomes the subject of a mandatory COVID-19 virus closure at the time of performance hereunder that results in the affected party's inability to complete the transaction as scheduled, the completion date shall be automatically extended at the request of the affected party for any expected closing date not more than 3 business days after the reopening of these institutions. Time shall remain the essence for any extended closing date as a result of this clause.
This clause is advised by the lawyer because if they have a problem to close the deal, put it in that they can extend it simply because of the registration office, they have some problem.
Okay, buyer and seller acknowledge that due to the measures taken by the provincial government in response to the current COVID-19 pandemic, there could possibly be a delay at land registration that would affect the actual registration date from the date herein contemplated.
Okay.
Okay. In such an event, the buyer and seller hereby agree to extend the completion date of this transaction until the next possible date following the scheduled date of the completion. That registration could actually be affected with no additional charges being made to the buyer. Notwithstanding the foregoing, both seller and the buyers agree that the seller will direct his solicitor to hold all funds in escrow on the date of completion, which is originally set in this agreement of purchase and sale, in order to permit both solicitors to complete the registration of the title of the property at the registration office, and such fund will be released to the seller immediately after the registration.
That is for the closing. All the clauses is only for the closing, okay? But still have some clauses I want to put it in for you guys. I'll later on to explain to you.
Okay, the sellers also agrees to provide access to the property if requested by the buyer's lending institution and or home inspector, hereinafter described as buyer service provider, in a mutually agreed upon time within such conditional period. Provided during the pandemic period, all mentioned service providers should follow the following rules and regulations. Number 1, to enforce physical distancing on the site. 2, to wear new masks, shoe covers, and disposable gloves during each visit and inspection. 3, limit inspections attendance for not more than 2 people at the buyer's agrees not to attend. However, buyers can wait with the co-op agent outside the premises. 4, buyers should not instruct the service provider to do anything which is not complied with any emergency orders and the law during the pandemic period. 5, all service providers are not at risk or unwell and recognize symptoms of COVID-19 during the showing and inspection. Yeah, okay. Then only people absolutely necessary to attend, and all other emergency orders and laws are followed. Example, no more than 5 people on the property, etc., including local public health authority guidelines. This is based upon Ontario's emergency orders in place April 9th, 2020. As the COVID-19 situation is constantly changing, please note that the rules can change at any time. And then this offer is conditional upon the inspection of the subject premises by the buyer and to find the same to be satisfactory to the buyer within 1 banking day from the date after the date of the acceptance of this offer, failing which this offer shall be null and void and deposit shall be returned to the buyer in full without interest and deduction, and the buyer may waive the condition at his sole or her sole option.
To answer your question, Eddie, we will accept deposit via to our account, okay? But I'll give you the cost later on. Eddie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, but
Any more question?
But then, is there any account? What's the instruction? How do we tell the co-op broker to wire the money to our? Is there account number? What is it?
Ask Carmen.
Okay.
Carmen will release.
Okay.
Thank you, Eddie.
Any other question?
No, thank you.
So just a reminder, if you have any questions, to please raise a hand, or you can also unmute yourself. Those are a couple options. Okay. Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
The most important, causes, because a few of them is regarding, the closing procedure. But a very important, the most important causes that I want to remind everybody is let me read it to you. The sellers also agree to provide access to the property if requested by the buyer's lending institute and or home inspector. If you got a condition upon financing or condition on inspection, you have to put it in a mutually agree upon time with such conditional period. Provided during that pandemic period, all mentioned service provider, that means the inspector and lending institution, should follow the following rules and regulation. This is the rules and regulation the mortgagee's lending institution and the inspector has to be followed, and the buyer. Number 1, to enforce physical distancing on site. Number 2, to wear new masks, has to be new masks, shoe covers, disposable gloves during each visit and inspection. Without this equipment, the seller has the right to refuse those guys to enter into the premises. Limited inspection attendance for not more than 2 persons at a time, and the buyer agree not to attend. However, buyer can wait with the cooperating agent outside the premises. They cannot get into the house. Okay? They can only allow the inspector to go in. Buyers should not instruct the service provider to do anything which is not comply with emergency order and the law during this pandemic period. We don't know what is the rules and regulation government will enforce during this period, but has to be comply with all these rules and regulation. The last one is also very important. All service providers are not at risk or unwell and recognize symptom of COVID-19 during the showing and inspection. I think it's best for every guy to have some kind of acknowledgement, get them signed before you let them in. They are not have any they don't have any symptom of those things. This is to protect your seller. This is very important. Any question?
So if you do have a question, you can unmute yourself or you can message me. It looks like Eddie has a question, so there we go. Go for it, Eddie. You can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Oops.
Basically, is it all our listing, whether it's rental or sale, do we have a schedule that would need the signature of the co-op agent and the buyer to see, to sign before the showing? Is there such a form? Because I saw it before you post it out.
Okay, this is called questionnaire. I will post it out. I will send it to you, a questionnaire. Okay, it's up to you whether you need them to sign, but I'll give out a questionnaire to everybody.
I'll post it on WhatsApp later.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
What
Actually,
I recommend you guys to do. Eddie, you got a question? No.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to ask now, in your last page, you said no more than 2 persons attending the home inspection. So I don't, because it kind of contradicts, because the buyer obviously would like to go with the home inspector. The seller supposedly are not there. So if you're saying no, not more than 2 persons, and then you say no buyer, so who is the another person? The buyer, it might insist that then in that case they have to see it, right?
No. Let me explain to you that 2 person. That 2 person is the inspector of the buyer and also the listing agent. The co-op agent and the buyer can only wait outside the premises until the inspector finish the inspection and get out from the premises and then to talk to them. That is my recommendation.
So Najib also has a question.
Yes.
It's a related question to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hello.
Najib, you can go.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Hi,
Go ahead.
Yeah, just finish.
Good morning,
Eddie.
Steve.
Finish first. Or Eddie wasn't finished.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry,
Are you waiting for me? No, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
done? Oh, okay. Thanks, Eddie.
Okay, so Najib, whenever you're ready, you can ask your question.
Yes, Steve. Good morning, everybody. My question is, how do you enforce the inspector and the lender's rep to sign the form? And where is the form?
As in the offer, when they submit an offer, these costs you have to put it in. It's a covenant. The form I'm gonna email to you either today or tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Najib.
Any other
Can I
question?
speak? Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Go ahead, Stephen. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Last weekend and few days ago, I've been showing some houses, and I recognize some changes because last week when I go show a bunch of houses, every office asks me, send me a form to send to the buyer to sign the COVID-19, like, to comply with all the restriction. So it's a pain in the butt to DocuSign those form to the buyer and sign and send it back to me, and I have to sign and send it back to the listing company to confirm the appointment. But I noticed from few days ago, they're not doing this anymore. They just have attachment with the listing. It says all the rules that you have to follow if you're showing the property. And you promise if you show this property, you will comply to the rules. That's what has been changed in the last few days that I noticed.
To answer your question, that is unprofessional. Because when you put in a listing, you request them to do something, it's one thing. But if they don't sign it, that means they are not committed. I recommend you
I understand.
to do it. Give them a questionnaire, sign it, and then that is not for the showing, okay? That is for the inspection and lending into the institution, the mortgagee. For the showing, what I recommend you to do, that is not for the leasing property, is for sale. For example, if the seller say, I want to sell the property, but I don't want to take risks. How are you going to advise to them? To advise to them to take as many picture or virtual tour as possible. And then ask the co-op agent to go into the virtual tour, see whether the buyer likes it or not. And then you accept an offer upon the purchaser satisfied with the actual inspection. In the other word is, see the virtual tour, put in an offer, and then inspect the property. That is the that is the steps. Number one, virtual tour. Number two, offer. Number three, inspection. In that case, you will eliminate the visiting, the time, the people to visit the house. Am I making myself clear? This is only a recommendation. It's all up to you. If the seller say, I don't mind, I will open my house to everybody, then so be it.
So Stephen, does that answer your question?
Partly, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just want to share my experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to emphasize one thing. You know our business. A lot of the broker or agent, they are unqualified as a broker or agent. So I hate to compare with some other company. Most important thing is you have to ask yourself whether it makes sense or not, whether it's logical or not. Anything you put on the listing is not an agreement. You cannot enforce them to do it, or you cannot take them to responsible for all the liability. Or, if something comes up, that the statement in the listing means nothing. If you really want to protect your client, you have to do it the proper way. Any other question?
So if anyone does have a question, you can either unmute yourself or just let me know in the chat and I can help you. Otherwise, Steve can keep going.
Again, I want to emphasize one thing. As a broker of record, okay, I provide you with an option, and I want you to do that. But you have to examine the situation, sit down and talk to the seller before you make a decision. The seller is the boss. He makes the final decision. But you as an agent, you have to give them sound advice. But unfortunately, a lot of the real estate agents nowadays, I hate to use the word lazy. They want to cut corner to make their job as simple as possible. That is not right.
So just a note, we are at our 10-minute countdown at this point. Not sure if...
Another thing is how you're going to deal with the tenant. That is very important. Right now, we have a problem to get the tenant to agree to open their house. But again, you have to talk to them. You have to give out some promise. Okay? It depends on individual situation. What happens if the tenant cannot close the deal due to whatever, let's say, something comes up. For example, we have a case. The tenant put in an offer, but later on they find out they cannot get into Canada, so that they cannot close the deal. Both the listing agent and the co-op agent, they sit down and amend the closing date. You cannot sue the tenant for default, because if this is the case, go to the housing tribunal, the landlord definitely will lose the case. Am I making myself clear?
So Steve, just to let you know, we have about 8 minutes left.
Use electronic funds. Yes. Let me emphasize. Electronic funds transfer reduce the need for person contact in the course of real estate trades. But you have to do it according to the rule provided by RICO. Fill the FinTrack form. That is very important. If no more question, I will give the floor to Gary.
Sorry, one question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about the FinTrack form, as a listing agent, do I have the right to ask for a copy of the filled out, like a signed FinTrack form, or just to confirm?
Demand, because since it's wire the money to your account, okay? You can demand to give you a copy of the FinTrack.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Another thing is, because things change, you can call me anytime you want. In fact, I come to the office every day from sometimes 9 o'clock, 9:30 to 2 o'clock. You can call me. Or if I'm not in the office, you can call my cell phone or WhatsApp me. I'm more than happy to help you. I'll give the floor to Gary.
Okay, so one thing is, we all know that a lot of buyers and sellers don't want people to go to the property, or they don't want to go themselves. So one thing is, Steve and David actually gave the okay sign. So what we're doing is free of charge for all our agents who have listings, and is that we're gonna create virtual tours for them. Wait a second. Am I sharing the screen right now? Do you guys see the screen or no? Is that, hold on. Let me just share.
No.
No, you need to share your screen, Gary.
Okay, there we go. Can you see it now?
It's uploading. It's black. Oh, there we go. We're good.
Okay. So basically, one of the things that we're doing, and I just did this for one of Kenneth Yip's listing, I did one for Elaine, is basically a little virtual tour showing, right? It's around 2 to 3 minutes long, each one. So it's just like a quick video of the place, just walking in, music. So what we're doing is we're getting one of our secretaries to work from home to help provide this service. So what we're doing is, you can view it later. So what we're doing is I can book the appointment. You can tell your sellers that I'm going in by myself. I'll be wearing a mask, wearing, basically shoe coverings, gloves, everything. And I'll be visiting the home myself, taking the video, and then I'll be uploading it to one of our secretaries who will be creating the video for us. And then she can share it on a link on the Google Drive. And then I can help you upload it onto YouTube or whatever social media that you want. And we're doing it at no charge. It's on the office. But the only thing is, if you're asking me to do it, you can do it yourselves and you can send the link. But if you're asking me to do it and I have to, let's just say, go downtown where it's paid parking, I will actually ask you for a refund of the paid parking. I'm not paying it for myself. Okay, sounds fair? It's only fair enough, okay? So if you guys do want that service, you want me to go in, just let me know and I'll book a time when the sun's out, when it's not raining, okay? Thank you.
To recap, the most important thing for long closing, try to put the deposit into vendor's solicitor trust account. If you act as a co-op agent, we will take the precaution for next 12 months. Any question?
Yes,
Good.
I raised my hand.
Yeah,
It's Eddie. It's Eddie.
Eddie, yeah.
Okay, the link or the video that Gabe just showed, are we supposed or are we allowed to post it on the MLS?
If we post it on the MLS, you have to let me know that you're going to do it, because I have to basically make a copy where it's unbranded. Like when we do the virtual tours or for any listings, you're not supposed to have, like, within the pictures, you're not supposed to have your for sale sign or any of the agent's contact information. If you're going to do that, let me know so I can tell Kim from our office to make a copy that's unbranded, so it won't have any of our Century 21 or any of the agents' logos. So I'm creating one for Aaron right now, and I am going to be making one that's unbranded for him as well. So it's going to be one branded and one unbranded. So the one that you want to brand, you can just put on your social media, like your Facebook or Instagram or WeChat or whatever. But the unbranded, I'll set up a YouTube link for it, and then you can just post it on YouTube. Set up on YouTube. Okay?
Thank you.
No problem. Just message me privately. Okay.
Okay, we will update our meeting every week, Monday from 11. Okay, we'll do it again. Thank you. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you very much. The courses we will email to you. Okay, if you have any question, you are more than welcome to call me.
I'll send it as soon as Steve gives it to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Jessica.
Yeah,
Jessica.
David, do you want to say
Thank you very much.
Wait.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Good to see you guys here. Thank you.
Jessica,
Yeah,
how much more time we got?
we have under a minute, so not much time.
Okay. I'll talk next time. That's okay.
Okay. All right, thanks, everybody. Be safe. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and your families.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Best of luck, Jack.
Bye.
So if anything happens, let me know beforehand so I can do this post.
Okay.
All right.